We're live. Looks like.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I'm really excited about my guest today. We have back with us Zara Starchild, and she is a spiritual guide, a conscious mentor, and intuitive teacher known for helping people to decode the architecture of their mind and understand deeper levels of their soul blueprint. Through her work with human design, intuition training, and multidimensional awareness, Zara teaches methods for recognizing when the mind is running old programs, trauma loops, false narratives, and matrix conditioning. She works with starseeds, empaths, and awakened individuals who feel called to step into higher alignment. Her sessions focus on ego deconstruction, timeline awareness, intuitive sovereignty, and energetic mastery. Zara will also be breaking down my birth chart today on air, so it's going to be interesting for sure. With all that said, and her website is zarastarchild.com. With all that said, I'd like to give her a big warm welcome back to the show. Thanks for coming on. How are you?
Hi guys. Thanks for having me back, Rob. It's always a pleasure. I love this super casual hangout space to talk to everybody and share some wisdom and share some love. So thanks for providing that. So I just wanted to clarify for everybody, I'm going to look at Rob's human design chart. I'm going to look at my human design chart, and I'm going to show you guys how to pull your own free human design chart and discover for yourself all of the wisdom that it holds within. So I'm going to get into that. And just share a little bit about my experience with it, specifically the Open Head Center. This particular chat we were going to talk about today was how you cannot trust your own mind. And I'm going to show you guys why. So, Rob, is it okay to turn on the screen share?
Yeah, for sure. I'll add it.
Okay. Select a tab to share. This one. All right. So just checking. Can you see it? Because I can't.
I'm adding it right now. Sorry, I got to add it. What pops up at the bottom of the screen?
Oh, it looks good. There we go. Right. Okay. So everybody, if you want to look at your own human design chart, you would just type in free human design chart into your Google bar. And I like to use Jovian Archive. They don't ask for an email address. I also really love Raquel and Davidian, the Raquel and Davidian Unleash Your Genius for human design information on YouTube, and they have their own website as well. So that's another great resource. But for right now, we're going to type Rob's information in here, and we're going to pull up his chart so you can see what it looks like. Rob, tell me your day of birth again. I'm going to shut down my
1/11/1980.
All right, so 11/01/1980.
No, 1/11/1980.
Yep. And then the time was 9 p.m., right?
Yeah.
All right, so 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So this is really important, guys. When you put the time in, as long as it's an AM, you can put it in. But if it's a PM, you need to use the military time. And what was the minutes on that, Rob?
Minutes, 9:17 p.m.
17. And United States. And the city again? Kensington?
New Kensington.
There it is. Okay, and that's it, guys. Oops. That's how you do it. Then you hit create your chart, and this is what it looks like. So this is Rob's chart. And
wait, can we zoom in a little bit somehow? Let me see if I can make the screen bigger. Oh wait, I guess that's my job, right? I want to try to make the screen bigger so people can see it. Let me see, how do I do this? Can you guys see it better now? Any chance?
I'll do it. I hear a control plus here. I got you, Rob. You see it?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
come
I
out
hope people
just a
can see.
little
I'm
bit.
going to pull the chat up on my phone to see if people can see it better.
Okay. So this is your human design chart. So what is human design? It's a really super interesting, new-ish modality in regards to your own self-discovery. And specifically, it takes your astrological birth sign, time and date. It takes something about the I Ching and also the plasma in the Earth's atmosphere at the time you were born. Don't ask me. You can watch Human Design Basics or Human Design Fundamentals and get all this information in regards to what it is. But why it's important is because it's a really interesting look into how our aura mechanics express in the world and how basically our energy body works in the world and how we are influenced by other people's energies and how we influence other people's energies. So this is Rob's chart, and I'm just going to dive right in. For those of you who don't know anything about it, the very first thing that you're going to do is get your chart, and then you're going to go to YouTube, and you're going to look up what your human design type is. And Rob is a generator.
What's that mean?
I'll tell you in just a second. And this is mine. I'm also a generator. So there's 4 or 5 different types. And I just want to say that I am not a human design guru. I'm not a human design teacher. So I'm not going to talk a lot about what these details are. What I specifically wanted to talk about today was the open and defined centers and just give you a little experience about how they may be affecting you. So the type is how your auric field works in the world. So there's a manifestor type, and the auric field of a manifestor pushes energy outwards and can go by the slogan, the Nike slogan, just do it. So anything they want to do, they can just get behind it and push it forward and make it go. For those of us that are generators, which is like 90% of the world are generators, we have an auric field that is a magnet. So our auric field attracts and magnetizes to us the people, places, situations, and opportunities that are of the highest for us. So things that you're wanting to create, if you are, and most of us do, go about it in the way of a manifestor, like just going out and doing it and trying to make it happen and making it push, then we tend to get very exhausted. We tend to get very overwhelmed, and we tend to experience the not self theme of frustration. So whenever a generator is experiencing the emotion of frustration, it's an indicator that we are not moving and working in the world according to our auric field, according to our type, according to how our mechanics work. So when we are in the energy of satisfaction, it is an indicator that we are in expressing how our energy field is meant to express. And it also, when we can get ourselves, excuse me, when we can get ourselves into the energy of satisfaction, and that's an energy, it's a frequency. And I teach a lot about different frequencies in the Awakening Your Light Body course, how to cultivate these frequencies. But satisfaction is a frequency. And I think that you can think back and remember a time when you felt satisfied, when you had sort of this sense of fulfillment. When we have that sense of fulfillment, that sense of satisfaction, then our auric field is amplified. The magnetism of our auric field is amplified, and we can attract those things that we want to manifest in our lives that much easier. Is this making sense so far, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have
Absolutely.
any questions about this so far?
No. We're going to do it. This is cool.
Okay. So anybody wants to throw some comments in the chat, please do. If you have any questions in the chat, please do. And like I said, you can pull up your human design chart as we're talking, if you like, and just discover what your type is. So we have a manifestor type, we have a generator type, we have a manifesting generator, which is like a substack of the generator, and we have a projector type, and we have a reflector type. And I'm not qualified to go into those other types. I just really know what the generator is specifically because that's mine and that's Rob. So we're in luck. The very next thing that you want to research about yourself is, what is your inner authority? So the title of this discussion here is You Can't Trust Your Own Mind. And I'm going to get into that in a minute. So what can you, if you cannot trust your own mind, what can you trust, right? And you can trust, according to human design, your own inner authority. And there's several different types of inner authority as well. Mine is splenic. I'm sorry, no, mine is not splenic. Mine is sacral. And that's one of the easiest inner authorities. And again, if you want to know more about it, go onto YouTube, type in human design sacral authority, or as Rob would do, inner human design solar plexus authority. So the solar plexus authority is an emotional inner authority. And so what that means for you, Rob, is that when you need to make a choice, when you need to make a decision, when you need to respond to something, right? So this is our strategy. As generators, we have to wait to respond. So instead of just going out and doing it, we want to wait to get the signal from the universe, and then we want to respond to that signal from the universe. And that could be a flyer, that could be an invitation, that could be an email dropped into our email box, but something that we can respond to. And if it's like, if we have an idea about something we want to create, and then we start seeing signs for it out there in the world, that's a signal, go. But if we're not seeing signs out in there, it's a signal to wait. Wait for your auric field to draw to you the right circumstance, person, or opportunity to then respond to. So in responding then, Rob, because your emotional solar plexus, doesn't say emotional here anymore, it used to, but the solar plexus is the emotional authority.
Yeah.
And what that means is, let's use an example of getting a new apartment or getting a new house. Wanting to get a new house, and then a friend comes along and says, oh, hey, I'm going to be selling my house, or my aunt is selling my house, or my aunt is selling her house. Do you want to come and take a look? So that would be something that you would respond to. You're thinking about getting a new house, a new apartment, and your friend says, oh, my aunt is selling her house. Would you like to come and take a look? As a sacral authority, my gut would say yes or no. I would have an instant yes or no feeling towards that question. Rob's is a little bit longer of a process to learn about, to decide. So Rob, what you would do in that situation is you would feel out the pros and the cons. Like, let's say you went to go see the house, but then you were undecided in regards to, should I buy this house or not, or should I rent this house or not? In the indecision, your auric field, your energy, your human design, will bring you into emotionally feeling all of the pros of having this house, and then all of the cons of having this house. And you'll kind of go through this emotional roller coaster. Yeah, I think I'm going to get it. No, maybe not. Yeah, maybe I will. No, maybe not. And you have to go through this kind of wave-like pattern until you settle into like a 70% yes or a 70% no. So the emotional solar plexus inner authority is like a 70% plus. It's usually never 100% on decisions. So the two things that everyone needs to know about their human design chart is their type and their inner authority. And once you find those out, you can go on YouTube and you can just binge watch all the different things. Like I said, Raquel and Davidian are amazing. There's a lot of amazing teachers out there. I would recommend listening to a bunch of the different teachers because they'll all have a different angle on how to use your inner authority and how to use your strategy according to your type. So just like an astrological chart, this human design chart has all of the things, like the astrological chart has your triangles and your squares and your crosses and your ascendants and your moons and your asteroids. This too has that kind of depth, but it's for those who are really interested in it, it's a wonderful study. But for most of us, we want to know what our sun sign is. We want to know what our moon sign is. We might want to know what our Venus is. In human design, we want to know what our type is and what our inner authority is and what our strategy is. Those are all combined in there. So here's where it gets interesting. So check out Rob's chart here. The colored centers here, those are considered defined centers. And the white ones are considered undefined centers. So I'm going to show you mine so you get a comparison. So see how Rob's got the yellow and the green on top? He's got a bunch of these down here below, and then he's open. This one are undefined in the throat center, and he's undefined in the G center. And I'm going to go into that one a little bit more for you, Rob, because that's an important one. If people have an undefined G center, it's really important to understand that. That's yours, and this is mine. So mine, I have an undefined head, undefined ajna, undefined throat, and then over here I have an undefined will center, and I have an undefined solar plexus, emotional center. Now, why do we need to understand this? This is the third thing that you kind of want to get a grip on when you're investigating your own human design, when you're studying your own human design. You want to know which of your centers are defined, but more specifically, you want to know which centers are undefined, because the undefined centers are where other people's energy come into our energy field. It feels like our own, and it influences us in positive and negative ways. So speaking about Rob's undefined G center here, this is his undefined self center. And so, Rob, it's actually very interesting that you are a podcast host, because you get to invite all of these different people onto your show, and you probably shift and change your personality a little bit depending on who it is that you're talking to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason that you can change your personality according to who you're speaking with is because you have an undefined G center. So pros and cons of the undefined G center. The undefined G center, the cons of it, until you start to understand it, what people with undefined G centers often feel like is they don't really know who they are. They don't really know what they want. And that's because who they are and what they want shifts so dramatically depending on who it is that they're with. So if I were to tell you anything to look at in your chart, Rob, I would tell you to look at this, the undefined G center right here in the middle. So do some research on what it means to have an undefined G center, and it'll tell you how to work with that. You'll find some YouTube videos on how to work with an undefined G center. So the brilliance of the undefined G center is that these characters are chameleons. So they don't know, like in their sort of immature stages, before they become mature in themselves, they don't feel like they know who they are. They're trying all of these things. They're not sure what they want to do. But that is because you are actually a chameleon. You're a shapeshifter. So that's the pros of it. The cons of it is that you need to be really mindful and really specific about who you hang out with. Because if you're hanging out with a crowd that brings you down, or if you're hanging out with people or even places, environments that your inner authority is like, no, not feeling this, but you go in there anyway, if you like bypass your inner authority with the mind and you go in there anyway, then those negative influences will affect who you are, and they'll affect your behavior and how you interact with the world. So
That makes
people,
sense. That makes
yeah,
sense because that's happened to me a lot before. So wow, that's weird that you said that because that happened. I'm not now that you say that that's happened to me a lot in my life. And like when I do things like against when I have that inner voice inside my head and I go against it, like usually bad things happen.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like you're saying it's more than that. It seems to be. It's more like I don't know. Like it
You
could be
can get
people, places,
swept
things.
up in you can get swept up in doing the bad things
Yeah.
with that open G sense. So like, for instance, if you were if you just started hanging around with the wrong crowd, right? And like, these people are not where you want to be or where you want to go, but like they're the only people that are on your block to hang out with, and they're just like the wrong crowd. Your
Yeah.
open G center would allow you to feel like let's say they wanted to go out like looting, right? Like let's say they want to go down the street and they want to loot the gas station. When you're in the presence of those people, that might feel like a really brilliant idea, especially as a young person. Like that might, oh yeah, let's do that. Let's go steal some beer or something. And you could get swept up in doing things that you would never choose to do by yourself. But because you're in
Yeah.
the auric field of these other people, that auric field is influencing who you are in that moment. And so those of us with that have the open G center might find ourselves doing things that we wouldn't choose to do if we were by ourselves, when we're with people that are um, the wrong type of people. Now, on the flip side, the brilliant thing is when you, Rob, feel like, oh, this is a really cool this is a really cool person, or this is a really cool group, and I'm vibing on it and it feels good, then the opposite is true, where their high vibe and what they like to do and their interests would also feel good to you. And so you might so the plus side is you would get to explore all of these different things that you wouldn't normally explore on your own,
Yeah.
and learn on your own. You wouldn't choose to learn these things on your own, but because you're with somebody and they like it, that sounds good to you, let's try it out. And so you get to learn and have these experiences that you wouldn't normally choose to do on your own with that open G center. Yeah. So it's
Wow.
very interesting. Yeah. This is really important, and we were talking a little bit before you came on. This is really important in
Yeah.
regards to who you choose to have as your partner as well. Because if the partner that if the person that you're with isn't somebody that you like really respect, really admire, has really positive things to do, say, be in the world, then that could really bring you down as well.
Really? For
It
real?
could really bring you down to be with somebody that's not, um, I would say, more than other people. Like, for instance, um, here's my chart again. So I have a defined center in contrast to a defined G center in contrast to Rob. So if I'm around and with people that are, let's say I'm around people that are unmotivating or lazy or um, negative or complaining, it might feel irritating to me, but it won't affect me as much as it would affect Rob. It won't affect my being as much as it would affect Rob's being, because my being is defined. I am who I am wherever I go and whoever I am with. So I'm still myself. Whereas Rob, because he's got that open center, he literally does a shapeshift when he's with people and sort of absorbs and starts to behave like the people around him in some ways, I'm sure.
I
Did you
used
want?
to do that when I was younger, but not much now. I mean, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
different. I don't know. I mean, but no, I see what you mean, though. Yeah.
We tend to grow out of it sometimes, or as we get older, we tend to sort of naturally navigate these things. You probably don't hang out with people that bring you down anymore.
Yeah, not really.
Probably
No,
make those
right. Yeah.
better choices. Yeah. All right. So here's some interesting things. So Rob has a defined root center down here. I also do. Let's see. I also have a defined root center here at the bottom. For those of you who have an undefined root center, if you're hanging out with people that have a defined root center, then you tend to have, you tend to be able to be influenced, energetically influenced to do things for people. So a lot of people that have an undefined root center down here, Rob and I do not, they tend to be very sort of hectic and frazzled and always doing and always busy. And that's because until they start to use their inner authority, whatever that may be, and make decisions based on that, they tend to be influenced by other people to do things. For instance, if we're sitting on a couch together, if you had a defined root center and I had an undefined root center, and we were sitting on the couch together, you might say something like, "Oh man, I'm really thirsty." And my undefined root center would cause me to sort of jump up and go get you a glass of water. Like do things for other people without thinking because it's undefined. Now, Rob has this one. This is the solar plexus here. This one here in the on the side, this triangle. This is the defined solar plexus, and that is why he has the inner authority that is solar plexus, emotional, because his emotions are relatively consistent. So he can trust his emotions to lead him in the right direction. And that's the point of this. When we start to use our inner authority and we start to use our type, when we start to put it all into place, it's called the human design experiment. And when we start to put it all into place, using our type and using our inner authority, it lifts us onto our highest life path. So Rob has a defined solar plexus. My solar plexus here is undefined. So what does that mean? My undefined emotional center, the solar plexus, can be influenced very, very easily by other people's emotions. And that means for me, I will feel other people's emotions in my body, and they will feel like my own. And it took me 30 years of my life to discover that that was what was happening to me. This is way before human design. I discovered, I think I might have talked about this in one of our previous ones, during taking the Awakening Your Light Body course and discovering how to use my light body and the grooviness I could create for myself in my light body. When I felt someone else's emotional wave come into my being, I was able to easily recognize that it wasn't mine because I wasn't feeling that 30 seconds ago. And that's when I discovered that I was an empath. And that's when I discovered that all of my people pleasing and trying to make everybody else feel comfortable and happy was a means so that I could feel happy, so that I could feel comfortable, so that I could feel joyful. So up until I was about 30 years old, I was trying to make everyone else happy and peaceful and calm around me so that I could feel calm. And then when I discovered how to use my light body to create my own inner calm, my own inner peace, my own inner well-being, I didn't need to any longer try to affect change in the outside world in order for myself to feel happy and joyful and peaceful. But the reason, and again, I didn't find this out until my mid-40s, the reason I was feeling everybody else's emotions is because I have that emotional openness here. I have this undefined emotional center. This one here is an undefined will center. And I'm going to show you Rob's again because Rob has a defined will center here. And I really, really admire people with a defined will center. So what that means is Rob is the kind of person that says, I'm going to do a podcast and I'm going to do 3 shows a day and I'm going to show up for that for the rest of my life. And then he does it consistently all the time. The undefined will center person, like myself, says, I'm going to start meditating every day, or I'm going to start working out every day. And I do it for about 3 days or 2 weeks, and then I forget about it. It's inconsistent.
Yeah.
But the trick here with those of you who have this undefined will center is if you can hang out with somebody that has a defined will center, you can be influenced by that defined will center. So if Rob and I were neighbors and I said, I want to start running every day, and Rob was like, hey, I'm going to start running every day, I could say, okay, I'm going to run with you. And because I'm running with him every day, or we're going to go jogging every day, he's doing it every day. He's going to knock on my door every day. And I'm going to be influenced by that will center of Rob's to be able to do it. So in my life, I have created for myself, for working out and for being healthy, I need to go to the gym. I need to go to the place where there are other people that have a defined will center, and I borrow the will energetically to do the workout because that's important to me. Rob also has a defined head center and a defined ajna center. And this is something else that I've always really admired about people who have, and I didn't know what it was until human design, but I really admire people with a defined head center. These are the kind of people that, whatever their interest is, they can sort of retain all of this information. I dated this guy once that knew like all of the names of the people in the Senate and on the Congress and in the House of Representatives. He knew all their names. He knew all their backstories. He knew all their, he knew all their scandals. He knew all of their, like what bills they passed, what policies. He knew it all. And that was so, like, I just admired that because I don't retain anything. With my undefined head center, I do not retain information up here. But the flip side is the undefined head center is open to new ideas, new inspirations, channeling, telepathy, and receiving the knowing in the time that you need it. So that's a plus, right? Wow. So those are some things I wanted to discuss with you guys, but specifically why I invited, before I go into the next thing, Rob, did you have any questions or did you want to talk about anything that we brought up?
No, this is really interesting though. I'm loving it. Yeah, this is really cool.
Cool. Another thing for you to take a look at, if you are interested in, is your profile, which is a 1-3. And actually, I'll just look at that for you. Because I'm curious.
How did you learn all this? Like, I mean, you just kind of studied it, I guess, or?
I have a best friend who is a human design guru, and she turned me onto it. But I really do not know very much about it. I know more about myself. Like, I know my own stuff a little bit. Oops. So your human design profile is an investigator martyr. So very interesting. You should have a read through this, but basically the investigator, you're an investigator. So it's part of your profile and it's part of who you are to want to research the things that are interesting to you and go really, really deep in them. Does that make sense to you? Does that resonate?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. My human design guru is an investigator also. She might actually also be a martyr, investigator martyr. And that is why she got into human design. She got turned on by it, and then she went super, super deep with it and got all the details. And now she teaches it. But coming back to the chart, in regards to investigating, just take a look at, see all these numbers here, all the numbers in here, those are called your gates. And then the lines are called your channels. And so you can see where you have the defined channel, that's a part of your inherent nature. That's who you are. And then the undefined channels these are gifts that you don't have consistently. But let's take a look at our charts together. Let's see. Do we have anything interesting together? Okay, so you have the gate 57 here. And I have the 10. See the 10?
Yeah.
So when you and I are hanging out, and we need to be hanging out within like 15 to 20 feet of each other energetically. But if you and I were hanging out together, then my channel 10 would connect with your channel 57 and create that loop for you and all the gifts that are in that loop. So these are all different characteristics and personality gifts that we each have.
Let me just say, it's good for someone to find out their human design, and then whoever they're going to be around human design as well, whether it's a friend or whatever, like just to like, so they can like figure out more things about themselves and how people will bounce off them energetically or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what I found really interesting about doing a little bit of a dive in this, because I did, when I first was introduced to this, I did my chart, and then I did the charts of all of the people in my family, you know, and obviously my partner. But what I discovered was that my mother is almost completely undefined. I think she's got she's what is she? She's a manifester. She's a manifester type, but she has, I don't know if she's got 2 or 3 defined centers, and all of the rest are undefined. And so what is beautiful about this is you can start to begin to understand why people are the way they are. And that's really fascinating. And the other thing that's really really rich about this, really gold about this, is, like I said, I always admired people that can hold information in their heads. Like, wow, they seem so smart, right? Like they can hold all this information in their heads. But then to find out that I have an undefined head center, and that's why I don't hold information in my head. And so it's not that I'm stupid, or it's not that I don't, that I can't know anything or learn anything. It's that when it comes in, it also goes out, but it's there when I need it. So the things that we admire about others, or the things that we perhaps think badly about ourselves about, a lot of it can be explained with these undefined centers. Because the undefined centers are where it's not that we're lacking, because there's gifts in the openness of these centers. Like I said, the defined center has a defined way of thinking, and can contain and hold information in their head. The undefined head center, which is what I really want to talk to you guys about, the undefined head center doesn't hold information in the head, but they very easily receive telepathy, channeled messages. They're very open-minded. They can change the way that they're thinking. They can see other people's perspectives. So there's gifts in the definition, and there's gifts in the openness of these centers. And so, like I said, I was envious of these people that have a defined head center, thinking that they're so smart, but then to discover, oh, I can't be like that because I'm wired differently. That's a real gift, to understand how we're wired. And then we can, so for myself, instead of wanting to be able to hold all of the information, I can just be happy, like, oh, I can channel the information when I need it, or, oh, I can actually hear people's thoughts when I need it, and know things that way. So it's interesting to know know yourself in this way. Is this mine? Yeah. Cool. Did you want to ask anything else?
No, this is I find this fascinating. This is really like, yeah.
I think it's
like
really fascinating. Yeah.
I didn't know about that. Like, I mean, I had an idea of it before, but like nobody's ever done like and explained it to me. It's really like,
There's
you can
so
really
much
find out some
more.
next level information about yourself.
Yeah, that's right. You can really find out some just with these simple things like your type, your strategy, and your inner authority. You can really discover some next level things about yourself. And then you can always go deeper. And I'm sure that Rob will, because he is an investigator. So you can go deeper and you can look at all the channels and you can look at all the gates and you can see how you're lined up. Here's another thing for you, Rob. You have a split definition. Okay. So I'll show you mine. I have a single definition. And so what it means is that this root center connects all the way up to my G center uninterrupted. And so for what it means to be a single definition means that I can do a lot of things by myself. I'm very happy to do things, very independent to do things by myself. Now you, my dear, have a split definition. So you actually need to have other people around because you have nothing connecting your heart, your beingness with your motor, with your engine.
Yeah.
So having other people around you to help connect this motor and all these lower centers to the upper centers will create you to feel more whole and able to accomplish a lot more by having others around. And that might be why you were inspired to gather people to talk on your podcast, because there's a longing to have other people around, because energetically, and this is not conscious, but energetically, it's like when you have other people around, when other people are in your space or even just having conversations with you, you're getting the bottom here is linking up. Just you and I talking, we're sharing some space here. You're linked up now to your upper centers because this channel of mine, and you would feel it more if we were in person, is making that link from your defined root up to your heart, up to your G center. So that's another little thing to take a look at. Yeah. So for those of you who are out there listening, these are the important things. Go to type in free human design chart, put your information in, look up your type, look up your authority, watch a bunch of different videos on those, dive deep into those. Those are the most important things. And then you can start your human design experience or experiment by starting to use your strategy and your inner authority to direct your life in the highest way, the highest path.
Yeah.
I will tell. So now I wanted to share some stories with you, unless you have any other questions about anything.
No, that's it.
Okay. So first I'm going to share the inner authority story.
I'm gonna click off this screen. I'm gonna, so because we're done with this now, right?
You want me to get off the chart? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get off. Yeah, I'll get off.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll find out.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out how to get. Yeah, I don't understand what's.
I think I did it.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks.
All right. So your inner authority. So my inner authority is a sacral. And as I said, that's one of the easier ones to begin to learn and practice with. And there's a bunch of them. There's the solar plexus, there's the sacral, there's the splenic. And I'm not sure what happened to Rob.
I got frozen. I was trying to unfreeze myself. Yeah.
There he is. Okay. So when you use your inner authority and you follow your inner authority, it will lead you to the highest life path choices. It'll lead you to the life of your greatest ease, your greatest flow. So here's an example of me not using my inner authority. I was renting out several years ago. I was renting out rooms in my house. I was renting out bedrooms in my house as a little boarding house to help pay for the mortgage. And this guy came in, and he was a sweet kid. He was 20 something, but the rest of the house was in their 40s. He was a sweet kid, and I was like, yeah, he's a sweet kid, but my inner authority was like, no, not a good fit for the house. So he left, but then his mom started calling, and his mom started pushing, and his mom started like waving cash around and saying, "Hey, I'll come over tonight with cash and seal the deal." And at the time, there was a lot of stuff going on in my life, so I was like, "You know what? Okay, sure. Come on in. He can come in. You can give me the cash. You can rent the room, and I'll deal with it later. Then it'll be sorted, and I won't have to deal with this. I don't have to keep looking, and whatever the consequences of not following my inner authority is, I'll just deal with that later." Like, I was in the practice already of this human design experiment, and my body, my sacral was like, no, do not rent to this person. But I used my mind instead, and I was like, money now, I can stop looking. I'm busy. He's a sweet enough guy, whatever. Within 2 weeks or less, there was a massive problem in the house with other personalities. And then I could not get him out. And I ended up staying in an Airbnb for 2 months because of personality clashes with this guy. And I couldn't get him out of the house. So it cost me probably 3 times as much money and frustration and time by not following my inner authority and using my mind making that decision.
Wow.
So that was probably the very last time I ignored the strong no of the inner authority.
Yeah. Wow.
The other thing that I wanted to share, and this was the reason why I reached out to Rob in the first place, is the open head center and the open solar plexus. That's what I have. So I'm working my human design experiment and discovering when emotions that I'm feeling aren't necessarily mine, and more specifically these days, when thoughts are not necessarily my own. And so many years ago, when I first started to discover human design, I was kind of fascinated by this open head center experience. And I was in a car with a bunch of girls, and we were on spiritual retreat. We're going to go to the Grand Canyon, and we were going to meditate at the Grand Canyon. There was a big group of us. We had to get there really early, and we were in the middle of the caravan. So there was a car ahead of us. There was a car behind us. There was a lot of girl drama going on. But as we were driving in our middle car, I was telling the girls in the car about the open head center and what it means to be able to hear other people's thoughts, have other people's thoughts in your head, be influenced by the thoughts of others. And I was speaking to it from a place of consciousness, but not from an embodied experience.
Yeah.
So we were driving to the meditation spot. And as I said, there was a lot of girl drama going on outside of our car. And the car ahead of us sped off, and we lost it. We lost the lead car, and there was a car behind us that was following us, and we didn't know the way. So long story short, we got there late to the meditation. It was very confusing. We didn't know how to get there, and it was like a lot of panic. Now, for myself, I have been a person that has been consistently late to pretty much all of my appointments most of my life. And so being late is not a big deal to me. It's just a fact of my life, which I have actually gotten better at that as I've matured. But at that point, I was not stressed out about being late. I was not stressed out about disappointing people. I was not stressed out at all. We got to the meditation center, and I could not meditate. My head was going rah, 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 rah. She did this, and she did that, and she did this, and she did that. And it just would not shut up. And so I was like, oh, screw this. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go take a walk along the Grand Canyon. And I heard very loudly in my head, sit down. And my spirit guides were, sit down. And I was like, oh, all right, I'll sit here for a bit longer. So another 20 minutes went by and I still could not quiet my mind. Lots of noise, lots of mind chatter. And I'm like, I can't screw this. I'm going to go take a walk along the Grand Canyon. And I heard again, telepathic communication, spirit guides, sit down. And all right, okay. And then the third time it happened a third time. I'm like, I'm going to get up. I can't sit here anymore. It's driving me crazy to sit here and my mind's going crazy. And I heard again, sit down. And so then by the third time I asked, I don't know why it took me so long, but I asked, what do I need to know about this? What's going on right now? What do I need to know? Why do I need to sit here? And I heard the words very clearly, open head center. And I understood in that moment that I was experiencing all of the mind chatter of all of the women in the group that were going through the drama of being late and making others late and leaving other people behind and all of the stuff that was happening, which was no big deal at all. But I couldn't shut my mind off because it wasn't my mind that I was experiencing. And so as soon as I understood that, just like when I had the experience of feeling someone else's emotions, when I understood that it wasn't my emotion, it's like this understanding comes over and you can then, and it releases almost. But in that moment, I was like, okay, what do I need to do about this? Since it's not my energy, what do I need to do about this? And they told me very specifically, run the frequency of transparency. And as I mentioned, this is part of the light body information. You start to learn how to generate and transmit different frequencies. And so this is a transmission of transparency. And transparency is this amazing frequency that is literally transparent. So whatever energy you are in, you become transparent to it and it flows out through you. So when you're in a situation that's like bad juju, you run the frequency of transparency. Instead of it sticking, it just rolls right off like Teflon. So I started to run the frequency of transparency and immediately the mind chatter stopped, it lifted, and I was able to meditate. And my guide said to me in that moment, you did that for the whole group. And I understood that in running the frequency of transparency through my energy field, I opened the cork on the bottle that allowed all of that angst from the whole group and the group consciousness to lift and calm. And I felt that was very, very powerful. That was many, many years ago. And recently, and I will say to you guys that since then, it was probably over 5 years ago, I've never had an experience, a conscious experience of this kind of open head center angst until very recently, where I took on a side job at the local YMCA, and I'm working with a bunch of the leadership there on creating programs for the community. And there's some angst in the leadership of this organization. And the angst kind of trickled down to me. And for about a week, I was experiencing a lot of mental angst, irritation, lots of thoughts, conversations spinning in my head. And it took me about a week. And I'm surprised it took me so long. It took me about a week to recognize that I couldn't shift this on my own. And I literally got the cue again. This is open head center. And so all of the angst and the thoughts in my head that were spinning around in circles was, again, not mine, not sourcing from me, but sourcing from the collective energy of this organization that I've woven energetically with. And so again, running the frequency of transparency and also doing some self-healing on the trigger points. And then all of that energy has been lifted from my consciousness. And I felt so very powerfully to share that experience with those of you out there, because I think that 99% of the population does not understand or recognize that a lot of the angst that we're experiencing in our own energies is not our own. It's not sourcing from within us. And we have a power, we have a very clear power to create sovereignty within our own being. We get to decide and we get to choose how we want to feel and what we want to think about, specifically in this situation, to create a sense of well-being in our lives. And that's what I consciously do for myself, and that is what I consciously do for others in the healing sessions, is coach others in regards to managing our own inner well-being so that we can be this positive influence in the world. Because if we are being affected as empaths or telepaths, if we are being affected by other people's energy, then it's true that they then can be affected by the energy that we are transmitting out. And so to be conscious light workers, it's very important that we decide and choose what kind of energy we want to contribute to the collective. Despite what is out there and what we're experiencing, we get to choose what we want to experience and how we want to contribute that experience to the collective, versus being powerless and being victim to the temperature or the chaos of the environment energetically. And I think that's all I wanted to say. So thanks.
Yeah, this was a really great show. Yeah, this was awesome. Like, yeah. Well, I'm trying to think. Is there anything you wanted to promote or anything like that? Like,
I did. Yeah. Can I share my screen one more time?
Yeah.
So tomorrow, you guys, we are having this amazing summit called Letters to the Sisterhood. And I'll put the link in the chat. Copy. But here's the screen. Let me just shut that down.
I got it. It's coming. I just got to add it. It pops up at the bottom, and then yeah.
So this is a little summit, an author summit in regards to this book that came out back in December. Heartfelt Advice for Nurturing Mental, Physical, and Spiritual Wellness, Letters to the Sisterhood. And all of these authors are going to be on the show tomorrow. We're starting at 10 a.m. And I'll drop, if you guys want to come, you can just fill this out. There's the link. And it's free. Come on and listen to all of the amazing wisdom from everyday people. And then in 2 weeks, we are doing the Year of the Fire Horse Liberation Summit with a bunch of different spiritual teachers, astrologers, qigong masters, somatic practitioners, all kinds of stuff. So this is going to be really amazing teachings and conversations, energetic transmission to prepare for the Year of the Fire Horse, which is coming on this is going to be on the 15th of February. So I believe the transition is either on the 15th or on the 16th when we move from the Year of the Dragon. And no, this is the Year of the Snake. When we move from the Year of the Snake into the Year of the Fire Horse next month. So anybody who wants to come join us, both of those are free. You'll meet a lot of really amazing, interesting people like you do here on Rob's show. And we welcome you in. So thanks so much.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on today. Yeah. And this was great. And guys, follow Zara on her YouTube. You have a YouTube, right, as well?
Yeah, at Zara Starchild on YouTube, and you'll find a bunch of beautiful meditations that you can start to practice.
Yeah. And then I have her website up on the screen. Her website is www.zarastarchild.com. Follow her, and I'll be live, I think, 2 more times tonight, guys. I got to podcast at 5 o'clock, absolutely for sure, in 50 minutes from now with Tony
Awesome.
Rodriguez, the SSP experiencer. So that's for sure. But then I'll also, this is something different. I don't think a lot of people are going to be interested in this, but I'm just throwing it out there because I'll probably do it on this channel, on my channel. Me and my friend Raw are into UFC fights big time. So we're going to do a fight companion podcast tonight, probably for people that like to just like hang out and watch fights and stuff like that. So if you guys are into that, come by.
Like
Yeah. It's. I mean, like, not a lot of people in our community are interested in like the fights, but like some people are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so like, yeah, I don't know, like, and that's kind of, it's brutally cold here where I'm at. So it's like, I don't mind doing shows, like, because like, I mean, you can't even go. I don't know how it is where you are, but here I can't even go outside. It's like brutal,
It's 15 degrees here. Where are you?
I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been cold for sure.
So you guys got hammered with snow too then, right?
Yeah, last weekend we got over a foot. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
city,
worse a little bit north of us. I think it was like 3 foot, 2 hours north of us, or south of us, I mean.
Yeah. It looked like the city of New York got hammered. Like, because I said they were showing on like Instagram and TikTok people that were complaining to the city about like them getting their cars blocked in. Like I guess the city came and plowed the roads and it put up like a 5-foot wall of snow and nobody wanted to dig their cars out. I wouldn't want to either. You know what I mean? That's like, it's brutal.
It is. And they have nowhere to put the snow. Like our snowbanks are a good 4 foot now. So if we're like, luckily we have a snow blower, but like if you're shoveling that, you have to shovel it up and over head to move the snow. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was here. I had to dig the cars out and stuff like that. When we got the snow, I was out there for like an hour and a half the one day, shoveling, and it was just horrible. It was just like I kept having to take breaks because my hands would get so cold. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like I am not built for this kind of weather. Like I'm definitely not. I think it's like my Mediterranean blood. I feel like I'm supposed to be somewhere warmer.
What are you,
somewhere.
Greek?
I'm like all Mediterranean. Well, I have a little bit of Irish in me, but my dad was Lebanese and Irish, and then my mom is Greek and Italian. So I have like real Mediterranean roots.
Yeah. I got Italian. My mom was 100% Italian, and then my dad was a mutt.
Yeah. What was your dad?
His last name was Polish, but he was like all of that Northeastern European or Northwestern European. He was Polish and Czech. And
do you like Polish food? People eat a lot of Polish food here in Pittsburgh. Like, I think I even have some Polish in me, like a very small amount. Like I'm a mutt too, you know what I mean? Like, and like I know about pierogies and halushki.
I'm making pierogies tonight.
In Pittsburgh,
pierogies is on the menu tonight.
Oh, for real?
You make for real. Yeah, gonna make some pierogies. I just found a great recipe. Online. It was like a chicken pierogi bake, and it's like chicken Alfredo sauce, something, and then you throw pierogies on it, throw it in a casserole dish, and cover it in cheddar cheese. It looked amazing. I saved it.
That sounds good. That sounds
really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
girl told me she's Polish. She watches my show. She's probably watching now. Actually, she told me that her I can't remember who she said it was, but she said she's like 100% Polish. So I think she said her sister's someone. She makes pierogies and she puts like sauerkraut, mushrooms, and meat in them. I don't know what kind of meat, but like. I was like, man, I told her, I was like, you got to send me some of those. We were trying to figure out how to I was like, I'll pay for the shipping, because I love homemade food. Like I'm a sucker for homemade food for real. Like that's like where, you know what I mean? Like that's my,
homemade ethnic food. Like if some grandmother is making their home, like any ethnic food, their grandma's making it. I'm like, I'll pay for that.
Yeah, that I know. Like I love like homemade Italian food or homemade Greek food or Lebanese food too. It's so good. Like my grandma used to make all the Lebanese food, and then my other grandma used to make Italian food. So like I was really spoiled with food growing up. Like coming from Pittsburgh, like people always talk about like New York and Chicago, but like Pittsburgh, we have a lot of really good food.
That's
you can get fat really easily here. Like, it's not hard.
Yeah,
like, for real.
Yeah. My mom, like I said, my mom's 100% Italian. She was one of 9 children. And so we would do Easter and Thanksgiving and Christmas, and it would just be this giant, like the table would reach from like the dining room, the kitchen to the dining room to the living room, and there's just everybody would bring, and it was just full of food, Italian food.
And I bet you like things were better, like the holidays were better back. I was watching. I'll tell you where I'm going with that. Like I said this on my show before, but like I was watching this guy's channel. It doesn't have anything to do with like what we do. You know, it's not nothing esoteric or anything like that. The channel is called AVA Pop Culture, and why I started watching them is because it was around the holidays. You know, and I was getting nostalgic about the holidays. Like I'm not religious or anything, but like. I'm spiritual, but like, you know, I love the holiday. You know, I still love the holidays, you know, and he was talking about how Thanksgiving and Christmas was a lot better when we grew up, like in the 80s and 90s, you know, like because, you know, everybody would go to the mall. Everybody would get together for Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner. It was more of like an event. You know, you went places, you did things. Now, like everybody's online. It's just not the same. You know what I mean? Like I tie this in too with this. I always say they're closing down malls here where I live. Like I live north of the city of Pittsburgh. I live in like the suburbs, you know, like, you know, but like, and like they're closing down like 2 malls around here. You know, it's like, it's really sad, you know.
All
it's
of
like
the malls are closed around here except for the ones in the very center of the big city, like Albany. Like Albany has a mall, but anywhere else does not have a mall. Yeah, they're all closed. Yeah.
That's sad, you know.
It is. It is. You know, I watched a few years ago, probably about 5 years ago, I had my niece over for a pajama party one night, and she had never seen the Gremlins. And so we put on the Gremlins. It was probably around Christmas time. And I was watching the Gremlins and I was like nostalgic, like you said, but like life was so different in the 80s. Like people knew their neighbors. People would help their neighbors out. Like people would like shovel their neighbor's driveway just because they were out there already.
Yeah.
It was
You
really
know what was different
amazing.
too? Like I don't know like how it is for kids nowadays, but like because I don't have kids myself, you know, but I mean when we grew up, like every Friday and Saturday night, like I would go stay over my friend's house. He would live in the town next door, and then we would go rent movies, you know what I mean? Like we would go to the video store, pick out movies, rent them, and we were lucky if they had them because they would be picked over sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, we liked all the old horror movies, and we would get like the B movie horror movies and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
You'd
And
ride
like
your bikes, right? You'd ride your bikes there.
yeah, or his mom would take us, and there was a pizza place next year that had like homemade pizza, and like it was just like it was so different, you know what I mean? It was just like I love those days, you know, I really do. Like you know, like I
mean
that
they weren't perfect by far, but like I really believe there's been some crazy kind of weird societal decline since then. Just in regards to general kindness and decency and honor in the world.
Well, I mean, you know, like with everything that's going on, like I've been talking to a lot of people about like the Epstein files, and like, you know, like this human trafficking shit has gotten way out of control, and like the amount of pedophilia that goes on in this world is really disgustingly sick. You know, it really is. It's at an unprecedented level, and like, you know, I have to think that that's partly because of the internet, because these human traffickers, they probably do a lot of their business online, you know, like, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't want to blame the internet for everything. I don't know, you know, but
I don't know. I think it's always been a thing, but what's, and this is, you know, this is actually like part of the Great Awakening is like that which has been in the dark. Like there's always been pedophilia. I mean, the Catholic Church was a big pedophilia ring.
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
right. Like even in the 80s, that came out in regards to the Catholic Church, but now it's just it's everybody's seeing it. You can't deny it. It's here. What are we going to do about it? Are these people going to be held accountable?
I mean, I didn't think we would ever see the Epstein files. I thought a lot of Republicans and Democrats would be implicated, because I feel like when people get, I was trying to tell someone this earlier. I said, when people get to a certain level of like, whatever you want to call it, like, you know, like when they're politicians or they have some certain amount of fame, something goes weird in their mind. It's like they go crazy. It's like they lose touch with reality, and they start doing sadistic stuff, like, you know, drinking the chrome, you know, the achrome, you know what I mean? I can't say that word on YouTube. I don't know if that's a real thing. Oh, it's absolutely real. And I'm not being a hardcore conspiracy theorist. No,
What is it
it's
for?
real.
Is
Like,
it for youth? What is it? Why would they drink it?
I
Is
mean,
it for youth? For
well, first
energy?
of all, they torture their victims to get it. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a sadistic thing. But yeah, it acts like a drug, but then it acts like it also has like, I guess, youthful effects as well. You know,
Yeah.
I actually, you know, if you look up like Maria Abramovich, she was doing like the spirit cooking and shit like that,
Uh-huh.
and she was all into that. And like, yeah, it's that, yeah, like California girl on the Rumble. She's over on Rumble. She said in my chat just now. She said Bill Gates is implicated. You know, I mean, I know people throw that around. You know, speaking of which, where's it at? Hold on, I got to show you my shirt. It shows you how much of a conspiracy person I am. Oh, here it is. Here it is. My friend bought me this shirt yesterday. This is so funny. Wait till you see this. It's a So it's hold on. This is just for fun. I'm not like political or anything. So, you know, and I probably won't even wear this, but like, can you see it? It says the truth will shock you, and it's Alex Jones, and he has Bill Gates in an electric chair. So Alex Jones is electrocuting Bill Gates, and it says the truth will shock you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of get into. I get so speak. Yeah, I don't know. I think
I usually put my head in the sand, but for the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've been looking every day, like an addict, like what's going on this morning, because it like the world is literally shifting from morning till night, from night till morning. The last couple of weeks, it's like shocking things are coming out from morning till night, and then you wake up in the morning and something happened overnight. It's just
yeah.
bonkers. I mean, last night I looked and I'm like, oh, they released the Epstein files. That's crazy. Didn't think that was going to happen.
But like, and one thing that was well, I mean, like, you know, one thing that I saw, like, so my friend Indigo Angel, we do a lot of shows together. She sent me a post about the fact that they released the Epstein files, and one thing they said in there, they said that Elon Musk was in there, and they said that he sent a letter to Epstein saying, "When can I come visit?" I'm like, you dirty motherfucker! Like, if that really was him, like, you know, like, I mean, like, honestly, like, I mean, like, what are these people doing? You know what I mean?
100%. 100%. All of the people that our president has surrounded himself in are in the Epstein files, and the reason why they're bending the knee and kissing the ring is because has the Epstein files. So it's, you know, he's surrounded himself like, you guys are on my team. Everybody shut up, do what I say, and we'll get through this. But they've released them. Yeah, that's going to come out. I hope. And there's 3 million more. They say they're irrelevant, but they're going to demand that those are shown also, I imagine. But then now those are just the documents. They have videos, they have audios, they have all kinds of stuff that's even more implicating, I'm sure.
Yeah, I just don't understand what's wrong with like people where they have to go to those lengths of sexual deviancy. You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with grown women? And for women, what's wrong with grown men? I mean, I know I love grown. You know, I mean, I prefer women in their 40s. You know, I told this girl that I was seeing that the other day. I was like, most guys like women that are like 25 years old. Like, I like women who are about 38 to 42, 45 years old. You know, like same age as me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's like I feel like I have more in common with them. You know what I mean? Like, you know, where a lot of guys, they want like a younger woman, like in her mid 20s or something like that. But like, I don't know. I feel like a woman who's in her 40s or, you know, or like that knows how to take care of herself and she really knows herself. You know, that there's nothing more attractive than that, because like, you know, what do I have in common with a younger woman? You know, absolutely nothing. I'll tell you, you know, like, honestly,
I dated younger for a minute, and I prefer my own age as well. I mean, just the memes, just like the general, like, this is what we grew up with. This is like, we know how to interact with each other. We're Gen Xers, you know, like, you're a Gen X, I'm a Gen X. This is how we do. But like, I dated when I think I was like 45. I probably dated a 35-year-old for a couple of weeks.
That's not bad at all, though. That's not.
It was fun, but it was a definite difference in the brain, in the culture. You know, it was just a definite difference.
Yeah.
It's
weird, right? You know, it definitely is. Like, it's like I agree 100%.
I met this guy a couple of years ago when I was out. We weren't dating or anything, but I was on a retreat and he was there and we were just hanging out, and it was a spiritual retreat, and he was the same age as me, and he brought up like listening to the Gregorian chants. which I thought was absolutely hilarious because the Gregorian chants came out and it was like a little meme that came out for a little while and it was super popular for a minute. And I listened to them, so it was just so funny. In that age group, we all listened to the Gregorian chants.
I love the Gregorian chants. They say that works for they say the Gregorian chants help with entity attachments.
For sure. Yeah.
Do they really?
There was a story. Yeah, there was a story, and I think I'm not sure if it was the Gregorian monks or another group of monks, but there was a monastic order that would sing and chant. It was Christian or Catholic, but they would sing and chant the names of God for 8 hours a day, and that was their job. And then at some point, the Pope said, "This is ridiculous. Why are these people just singing all day long?" And so they told them to stop. No more chanting. And I think within a few months, many of them started to get throat cancer.
Wow.
Because they stopped chanting. And so they said, "Okay, go ahead, chant." I don't remember the exact
story. I heard
something
that someone said that they took the church bells away too. They said something like that the bells can take away entity attachments too. But and I used to hear them in my town all the time. They used to you would hear it all the time. You would hear them ringing the church bells. But now I heard they stopped that.
When I was living in Kingston, one of the most beautiful things about living there was the church bells would tell the time. And then I guess, over the last 5 years or so, I stopped hearing them.
Where's that? Apparently, Kingston, New York.
That was in Kingston, New York. Yeah, that was in Kingston, New York. But so I really feel like we've lost when they found out, right, that the Catholic priests were molesting all of these kids. 20 years ago or so, a lot of people left the church. And unfortunately, they kind of threw the baby out with the bathwater because we are missing that kind of, I'm not saying we're missing the church, but we're missing that kind of spiritual direction or that spiritual connection or we're missing something these days by not having that. There's a lot of people that still go, but as a large culture. And one of the things that they do in some of the towns of Italy is on a yearly basis, they take out the Virgin Mary and they have a Virgin Mary parade and they incense the entire village to get rid of the evil spirits, to cleanse the evil spirits. And that is something that ever since I heard about that, I'm like, we should do that everywhere. Every town should at least do that once a year. Sweep the entire town with sage. And bells and singing bowls or whatever. It doesn't have to be Catholic, right? But it doesn't have to be organized religion. It could just be intentional. But really, really important. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, this was great. Yeah. Do you want to tell people one more time how they can join your thing tomorrow and any way else they can follow you?
So you can always drop me an email at zarastarchild@gmail.com if you want to come on. Zara Starchild at email. We're doing Letters to the Sisterhood tomorrow, which is an authors summit, and then the Fire Horse Summit on February 15th, which is a bunch of different teachers, spiritual teachers, and practitioners offering some energy and some wisdom before the turning of the new Chinese New Year.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, well, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. And thanks, Zara, and I'll be talking to you soon.